I grew up in the shadow of my sister, Sandy Winchester. She wasn't just loved, she demanded to be loved. Sandy walked into rooms like she owned them, like the air itself bent to make space for her. Teachers adored her, parents bragged about her, and at home, she made sure I remembered exactly where I stood. "Move, Maria," she'd snap, shoving past me in the hallway. "Try not to embarrass the family today," she'd whisper before school, her smile sweet enough to fool anyone watching. I learned early that I was the underdog in my own life. I worked for everything, late nights, perfect grades, exhausted eyes staring at textbooks while Sandy breezed through life on charm and cruelty. One science fair still burns in my memory. I built a project so detailed my fingers blistered from glue and wires. Sandy threw hers together the night before, then flirted with the judges, laughed softly, and won first place. That night, I overheard her in the kitchen. "Of course I won," she said lightly. "Maria tries too hard. It's embarrassing." Something hardened inside me, but I swallowed it. I always did. And then there was Ethan. He was the captain of the football team and pretty much the cutest guy in school, and the first boy who ever made me believe I could be chosen. And when he smiled at me after chemistry class, the world tilted. Ethan Cole was smiling at me. I could hardly believe it. Everyone, including me, definitely had a crush on him. I thought my cheeks were going to explode from smiling too much. He laughed at my stupid jokes. He waited for me after school. The first time he held my hand behind the gym, my heart beat so hard I thought it would split my ribs open. "You're different, Maria," he whispered. I like that. Different. Not invisible, not second best. Different. For 3 fragile weeks, I lived inside that feeling. I floated through my days. I imagined introducing him to my parents, imagined prom photos, imagined a future where I wasn't standing in Sandy's shadow. And then she noticed. Sandy always noticed when something was mine. It started small, a casual question at dinner. "So, who's the guy walking you home lately?" Her tone was light, but her eyes were sharp. I should have lied. I should have protected the tiny happiness I had. But I was stupid with hope. "That's Ethan," I said softly. He's my boyfriend." The silence that followed felt wrong. Sandy smiled, slow and sweet and terrifying. "How cute," she said. The next day, she wore my favorite dress to school, the one I'd been saving. She walked straight up to Ethan while I watched from my locker, frozen. She laughed at something he said, touched his arm like it was nothing, like she hadn't just stepped into my world uninvited. By the end of the week, he was texting her. He told me it was harmless, that Sandy was just friendly, that I was overthinking. Then I found them behind the bleachers, her lips on his hands on her waist. The air punched out of my lungs. For a second, I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. The world narrowed to the sound of her laughter against his mouth. When they pulled apart and saw me, Ethan looked guilty. Sandy didn't. She tilted her head, eyes glittering with triumph. "Oh," she said lightly. "Maria, we were going to tell you." Tell me. Like betrayal was a scheduled appointment. Ethan stumbled through apologies, said he didn't mean to hurt me, said feelings were complicated. But Sandy stepped closer, her voice a silk-wrapped blade. "You can't expect people to stay with you just because you want them to," she whispered. "Some things are out of your league. Out of my league." I went home and locked my bedroom door. I slid down against it and shattered quietly, like glass breaking underwater. I cried until my throat burned and my eyes swelled shut. It wasn't just that I lost him. It was the realization that anything I loved could be taken, and Sandy would always be the one holding it when the dust settled. That night, I promised myself I would never let her see me break again. But the crack she left inside me never fully healed. I tried to tell my parents. I hoped they'd notice the pain in my eyes. "Don't let a boy ruin your sisterhood, Maria," my dad said lightly. "Boys like him are usually bad news." "Don't be dramatic, dear," my mom added. "Sandy has always been more outgoing. Plus, you girls should be focusing on schoolwork instead of boys. You should get your grades up like Sandy's," I wanted to scream. My parents weren't protecting me. They invalidating me and totally shifting the focal point from my feelings and the sins Sandy committed against me, proving that I'd never be enough. Every tear, every heartbreak. Dismissed. Every effort overshadowed. Every dream. Secondary. Travis Peter arrived mid-year as a transfer student, and the school noticed immediately. He wasn't loud or flashy, just tall, sharp, and composed. Teachers whispered about his intelligence. Students whispered about his presence. Sandy, naturally, zeroed in. But I barely paid attention. I had learned shiny boys belonged to others. It happened in physics class. He answered a tough question confidently, catching my attention. I felt him staring at me a couple of times, but I shrugged it off probably because I was in denial of owning anything. And then at library notices the notes I drop, quietly returns them, or at the hallway where passes me a folder I dropped. A brief nod, walks away. Sandy noticed too, leaning against my locker one morning. "Looks like someone caught your eye," she said, flicking her hair. I turned, pretending not to hear. "It's nothing." Her laugh followed me down the hall. A week later, he appeared at my secret cafe. "I noticed you here a few times, Maria, right?" he said, placing a cup on the table. "Thought you might like this." I blinked. "Thanks, Travis from school." He replied yes, smiling, and we fell into a conversation. 5 minutes, he said. "If I'm boring, I'll leave." Something about that made me nod. The conversation started awkwardly. Weather, school, teachers. But then it shifted. He asked about my sketches, not to flatter me, to understand them. "You draw people like you're trying to figure them out," he said quietly. I blinked. "Maybe I am." He leaned back, studying me. "And who's trying to figure you out?" That was the first time my stomach flipped. It wasn't aggressive flirting, it was intentional. Slow. He held eye contact just long enough to make my pulse jump. He teased gently when I got shy. He noticed when I tucked my hair behind my ear. By the time we left, the rain had stopped, and somehow my skepticism had softened into butterflies. It didn't happen overnight. But once Travis decided he liked me, he didn't hide it. At school, he'd wait by my locker. "Morning," he'd say, handing me iced coffee exactly how I liked it. He'd carry my books without asking. He'd text, eat lunch with me, not demanding, just certain. One Monday, he placed a small wrapped box in my hands. Inside was a silver bracelet. Delicate, simple. "You fidget when you're nervous," he said. "Figured this might give your hands something better to do." I stared at him. "You noticed that?" "I notice a lot about you." Students started whispering. Because Travis wasn't just any boy. He was confident, smart, friends with everyone, the kind of guy girls openly competed for. And now he was choosing me. Sandy couldn't stand it. She cornered him near the stairs one afternoon, hair perfect, smile dazzling. "Travis," she purred, touching his arm lightly. "You know you don't have to settle. We'd make a better match." He removed her hand calmly. "I'm not settling." Her smile tightened. "Maria isn't really your type." "My type," he said evenly, "is someone genuine." Her face hardened. He walked away without another word, straight to me. That was the first time I saw real jealousy in Sandy's eyes. And then Ethan noticed. The same boy who left me for Sandy. He started showing up at my locker again. "I made a mistake," he said one afternoon. "He's using you, Maria. Guys like him don't stay." "You didn't stay," I replied quietly. His jaw tightened. "You're really choosing him over me?" "I'm choosing someone who chooses me." That's when I saw it, not regret, possession, and it scared me. 2 weeks later, Travis invited me to his friend's house party. "You don't have to stay long," he said. "I just want you there." The house was loud, music, lights, laughter spilling into the yard. Sandy arrived too. Of course she did. She wore red. She hovered near Travis whenever she could, whispered things, laughed too loudly. Ethan lingered in the shadows. I didn't realize the trap until it was too late. Someone grabbed my arm lightly. "Travis is looking for you upstairs." I recognized Ethan's voice too late. When I stepped into the room, the door slammed shut behind me. The lock clicked. My stomach dropped. Ethan stood between me and the door. "You think you can just replace me?" he snapped. "You think he actually cares?" "Open the door," I said, backing away. He stepped closer. "I'm not losing you to him." Before I could react, he grabbed my face and tried to force a kiss. I shoved him hard. "Stop!" He grabbed my wrist. And then the door exploded open.